And I thought that we could incorporate um, this idea into our practice today. I was listening to Tara Brach, and she was interviewing a man named Dachner. I think it's Dacher Keltner. You may have heard of him because he's a psychology professor at Berkeley, and his most recent book is on awe. And it's interesting because his definition of awe is the feeling of being in the presence of something vast that transcends your current understanding of the world. But if you look back in time, it was more this kind of feelings of awe were feelings of fear or terror. But he's taking it into feelings of wonder. And so I'm going to invite you to feel into your inner landscape today, towards those feelings of awe and wonder, being in presence of something greater than ourselves as we come into the presence of ourselves, of understanding our own bodies and beings and their interrelatedness in the world. So let's come into a comfortable seat. And let's begin with the breath, which I feel is continuously mysterious for me. Feel into the breath as it enters your body, the sensations at the nostrils or even outside of the nostrils on the outer lip, the sensation in through the nasal passages and down into the throat, into the expanding lung tissue and rib cage. If it's comfortable for you, bring a slight smile to your face, because this sends a message to the body that you're ready to relax. And see if you can enjoy your breath, the feelings of the breath moving the body, the sensation of the moving diaphragm, feeling for it ballooning down into the abdomen on the inhale and mushrooming up under the lungs on the exhale. Notice the deepest place you can feel the breath. And see if you can also feel the stretch at the skin. Feel into this mystery, the beauty of the body pulsating on this breath from our first cry at birth until the last breath at death. Think for a moment of all the breaths you've taken in your lifetime without noticing. And let yourself settle into noticing this wonder this morning. Like we may sometimes stop and watch the wind move through the trees with wonder. See if you can feel for the breath moving your tissues of your body. The breath pulses our breathing diaphragm, the diaphragm at the roof of our mouth, and the diaphragm at our pelvic floor. When we're full of breath, not only does it deliver life-giving oxygen and rid our body of wastes on the exhale, but when we're full on the inhale, it protects the spine. And when we exhale in a way that awakens our inner core, it protects the spine. The breath can help us to relax the body. It can expand and grow faster to help us run or exercise or get away during a dangerous situation. Invite the breath to expand into the back body and feel how it contraction the back ribs away from the spine. This can create space and freedom and mobility. Invite in a breath that opens your whole circumference of your torso. Feel how the cylinder of your torso can expand. And then feel into the potential to relax onto your exhales. To let go tension in the tissues of the shoulders, the neck, the face. The belly, the arms, the hands. Let yourself breathe for a few more moments, feeling into this vast inner landscape. Let the breath guide your concentrated awareness inward. When I lived in Senegal, in the village of Louly-Bentigné, every morning we got up and we walked through the village to knock on doors and say good morning. How is your health? How is your family? How are you feeling? Let your breath guide you through the village of your body, saying good morning to all these parts that work together for the greater good. You may not know all their names, You can feel them. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now step for a moment far outside this village and look down on yourself sitting in your room breathing. In this community of our Zoom room with others breathing on this small planet with many, many, many beings breathing. Notice if this inspires any sense of awe. Let's inhale our hands into our hearts. May we be fully present today with these moving, beautifully pulsating bodies. May we lean in and learn and enjoy a sense of wonder. Namaste. This will be my new book. I'm going to order this book for myself. Let's stand and shake the hands for a moment, feeling into the fingers, the palms, and the wrists. They're studying more and more how we can cultivate happiness, joy. And part of what they're saying in this book, he's a psychology professor at Berkeley, is that we can cultivate a sense of wonder and awe as a part of the creation of our own happiness. That we have a genetic predisposition to see awe. And talks about Jane Goodall watching chimpanzees discover a waterfall and the look on their faces as they watch this water show, this like sense of wonder. Now think of yourself for a moment when you felt that sense of wonder and let your arms shake all the way up to the shoulders and your legs bounce. Think of those moments of wonder and let them percolate through you. And then think of children you've known or grandchildren and moments when they have that look of awe on their face. And how wonderful it is. So the invitation is to linger there. Let's let the arms spin around the body and let the hands go. Let there be space between the joints of the fingers and the wrist. Feel into the spine as it twists. And let the front hand come up and tap the lung and the back hand tap the kidney. Opening these lung and kidney meridians, knocking on the door of life. Cultivating awareness, consciousness, and our ability to notice. And then decide what we want to focus on. Now let the arms go and swing. And slow down the movement. And pause. Relaxing the arms. Let them traction the shoulder girdle a little bit. Imagine today that the hot air balloon has you from the base of the skull and it lifts the base of your skull. Let it lift the skull and relax yourself down away from the skull. Close your eyes and let your eyes rest back in their sockets. Fluid breath. And then roll your right shoulder up, down, and up, back, and down, and then the left, and stretch from side to side. And let your consciousness really settle into the fascial web and the movement. Let the elbow reach and stretch and the toe point away. And see if you can settle into feeling joy in the stretch, the opening of the body. And maybe to find that joy, you don't stretch quite as hard. Or maybe you stretch a little farther. It's going to be unique for each one of us. Fluid breath and movement. Opening the myofascial web. Feeling the interconnectedness. And then release the arms down. Inhale, palms up, thumbs out, lift the heart. Let the arms wash around to the front of the body and pulsate the spine in a fluid motion like a wave rising and rolling over. And let's open, remembering that we are water and we can flow. Inviting any adhesions in the fascial layers to release so the water can flow through the tissue. Inviting it and feeling for it, that opening, that fluid grace. And then pausing again in mountain pose. Releasing your hands and your arms, letting them gently traction out of the shoulder girdle. All the while planting the four corners of your feet, lengthening up the legs, up through the pelvic floor, up the center channel, through the crown chakra. The arms tractioning down from the shoulder girdle, the spine lengthening skyward. Breathe into the heart center. Expand the whole circumference of the torso. And step the left foot forward and right foot back and let your wings rise and let the left hand come around to the right hip and inhale center and right hand to left and inhale and exhale. Opening and releasing. Feeling into your foundation, the four corners of your feet, maintaining the back foot inner arch, even as you twist to the left. Noticing how you can create stability in the structure. And inhale, float your arms up, palms forward, thumbs out, broaden across the collarbones, and find the shoulder blades hugging onto the back ribs as you lean forward towards Parsvottanasana. Gentle stretch of that front hamstring, and then inhale. The arms rise and exhale. Float them open and fold forward, Parsvottanasana. And we inhale and lift. Exhale, open and fold, taking long, fluid breaths. Feel for the length of your spine through the entire movement, activating core muscles around the spine to keep the length as we stretch the fascia in the hips, legs, and shoulders. And this time, as you come into the Parsvottanasana, pause, drawing the front hip crease back, rearranging the back foot a little if you need to keep a lift in the back foot arch. And then inhale up, raising the arms, bend into the front knee, Virabhadrasana 1. Fluid breath grounding into the four corners of the feet. Exhale, hands to the heart, bow into your humble warrior. Stretch from that outer heel through your crown chakra. Feel into how the banks of the river can hold and contain your energy. And inhale, lift the spine. Exhale, twist gently towards the left leg. Keep the right foot grounded, the inner arch lifting, support the back inner knee. And exhale, unwind. Swing the arms skyward one more time, straightening the front leg. And exhale, the wings open, fold forward, Parsvottanasana. Balance the hips, engage the banks of the river, draw energy up from the feet through the pelvic floor along the spine. And inhale, lift again, hands coming down to the heart in mountain pose. Feel into the physical sensations in your body. Invite a three-dimensional breath to expand the back hemisphere of your body. Really invite your mind to stay into observing the internal landscape today. Right foot forward, left foot back. Let all that external world go for a little while. Releasing the hands. Let's inhale, opening the arms, and exhale, right hand to left hip. Inhale to center, left hand to right hip. Gentle twisting. Only going as far as feels okay in your body. Playing with how wide your legs are side to side, front to back, to find the place where your body stretches some but doesn't get overstretched or strained. So for some of you, the legs will be closer together. For others, wider apart. Honor your own body. We're each unique. That's part of the wonder of it all. Come forward, turn the palms forward, thumbs back, and exhale, bow forward over the front leg, Parsvottanasana. And inhale, lift the arms skyward, stretch. Exhale, open the wings, fold forward, draw the front hip crease back, and inhale, the lift. And exhale, the fold. Draw in the banks of the river. Breathe. Breathe prana through the pulsing body. And this time, inhale up and pause, bending into the front knee, Virabhadrasana 1. Let your shoulders broaden. Keep the back of the neck long, but remember, you can draw in the banks of the river, root your tail towards the back heel, and lift the low back ribs. Lift the base of the skull to support the back bend. Let the breath pulse you three-dimensionally. Let the breath help you open the fascia. And then exhale, hands to the heart, bowing forward, humble warrior. And stretch up again. Virabhadrasana 1, and straighten the front leg and arms open, bow forward, Parsvottanasana, and pause. Feel the four corners of each foot. Feel into the asymmetry and symmetries you can find in your body. Observe yourself like you observe a snowflake. And inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, feet together, mountain pose. Head resting back, hyoid bone resting in and up. Eyes resting back in their sockets. Feel your shoulder blades firm on the back body, lifting away from your buttocks, which lift away from your heels. Lift the base of the skull, let the eyes rest back. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Let the arms traction away from the shoulders. Inhale, length up the spine. Really try to lengthen even through the neck. Three-dimensional breath. Step the feet wide. Turn the feet out and allow the knees to bend out over your second metatarsals. Arms coming into your cactus position. Exhale, pinkies together, and inhale, fill the posture with breath. When you're ready, exhale and open and fill this posture with breath. Feet are wide open, suction cups, drawing prana up from earth with each inhale. Feel how you can draw your attention to your relationship with gravity. Or you can open to the breath and draw your attention to your relationship with sky. And then next time you come up, right, reach your arms skyward and stretch the hands wide open, and then fist them and stretch them and fist them. And let the hands begin to stretch the whole myofascial web. Feel for the stretch in your forearms. Feel for the stretch down your arms, even into the armpit. And feel for that interconnectedness. Let your palms open out wide and circle the arms like each hand is polishing a window. And then take the circles the other way. And bring one palm in front of the other forward and pulse a little. And then open, lift the heart, root the tail. And pulse the other palm forward and open, lift the heart, root the tail. And pulse. And as you root the tail, lift the low back rib ring. And pulse. And as you root the tail, lift the base of the skull. And pulse. And open one more time, stretching. And then release the palms so they face down. Straighten the legs. Turn the left foot out and bring the right foot around. So the heel's a little farther back, star pose. And bend into your Virabhadrasana 2. And pause here. Gaze resting out over the front fingertips. Let the shoulders, let the arms release away from the skull. Breathe in up along the length of the spine, stretching through crown chakra. And from your pelvis now root into both legs evenly. Bring your left hand to the femur, your right arm alongside the ear, and exhale, bow your heart towards earth. And inhale, lift your heart towards the heavens. And stay high just for a few breaths, feeling into the stretch on high. Where is it that your body opens and pulses? Can you come into a position where the movement feels joyful? Perhaps you then come lower. Stay conscious of your foundation from the pelvis into the four corners of your feet, continuing to lift the arches. And then feeling into this motion pause where the stretch feels great to you. And breathe into that particular stretch in your unique body. And it may be different one side to the other. And then from your pelvis, root your feet, come through neutral up into your dancing warrior. Release the shoulders away from the head and breathe deep into the body. Fill this posture with prana. Let this posture be an artistic expression from your own heart. And then straightening the front leg, cartwheel into your Trikonasana. Stop at the high Trikonasana. Add the banks of your river, lift through the pelvic floor, and if you'd like to, continue to hinge into your Trikonasana, using your shin or your leg lightly with your hand. Fluid breath, shoulder blades on the back body. It's pouring rain at my house, pouring rain. Turn your palm forward and bring the hand up overhead. Long spine. Stay long and strong on the underside. Beautiful poses. Really alive, Karen. Exhale, float back up and turn in your left leg. Turn out the right leg. Take the left heel back. My wood stove is heating me up today. Okay. Open into your star pose and bend into your left knee, Virabhadrasana 2. Check out your spine lifting straight up out of the pelvis, rooting into both feet. Let your gaze rest out over your front fingertips and let your arms rest away from the skull as if they're resting on water. Feel into this pose for a few breaths. Fine-tune this pose towards ease. Can you smile in as you feel into your own strength, your own conscious awareness of aligning towards ease? And then bring your right hand to the femur, your left arm alongside the ear. Stretch it open, and then on high, tilt the heart towards earth and lift the heart towards the heavens. And feel this in your myofascial matrix. Notice, really feel, where does it feel good? Let yourself linger on the good feelings, and then perhaps come lower and continue to undulate the spine. If you come to a point where the not good feeling outweighs the good feeling, you've come too far into the pose. Come back out to where, I feel that stretch and it feels good. I'm creating space. And then pause. Wherever your body says, right there, please stretch there just a little longer. And then invite the breath in to massage the tissue that requested the stretch. And then from the pelvis, root into the four corners of each foot and lift into your dancing warrior. Shoulders releasing away from ears, breath pulsating the body. Invite the breath into the whole circumference of the torso. If you were going to hold this pose for 15 minutes, how would you alter the pose towards ease? And float back up, straightening the front leg, cartwheel into your high trikonasana, rooting into the four corners of both feet, strong from the pelvis. Lengthen the spine out, broad across your wingspan. These are beautiful, alive poses all the way around the room. If you'd like to come a little lower into your trikonasana, do so, but don't compromise the length of your spine. Fluid breath. Breathing into this posture, this artistic expression of you. Let it radiate out towards the people you love, towards those that help you in the community. And then rooting into the feet, rise back up out of your triangle pose. Turn your right leg in and step your feet together, mountain pose. Fluid breath. Wide open across the collarbones, shoulder blades broad and strong on the back body. Bring your hands up to interlace around your skull, thumbs at the base of the skull, and wrap your elbows forward. Root the four corners of your feet, lift your toes, lift your arches. Relax your toes. Draw energy up from the feet through the aligned knees to the pelvis. Pubic bone and tailbone stay level as you lengthen up the spine. Lift the base of the skull and the elbows and rest into a standing back bend. Shoulders releasing away from skull. Come back into your three-dimensional breath. Fluid breath. Notice if you stand a little stronger on one leg or the other, root evenly from the pelvis into both legs. Lengthen all sides of the spine into the back bend. And if you'd like to, unfurl your arms and reach through each finger. Stretch the pose open like you're a rainbow, reaching deep, high into the sky from the mountain. And exhale, hands through the heart, mountain pose. Relax your fingers and your palms and your wrists. And let the arms traction out of the shoulder girdle as you breathe length to the spine. Let your energy travel out the crown chakra towards the sky. And visualize that starry night sky, the Milky Way. Fluid breath. Now really feel into the four corners of each foot. Choose one foot to put your weight on. Hug in the banks of your river and begin to lift towards Vriksasana, tree pose. Placing your arms in whatever position feels right for you. Your foot in kickstand or on the calf or up on the inner thigh. Decide what tree you are today, a eucalyptus or a maple, pine or a cedar. Rest into awareness of your roots growing deep. Visualize them growing through the soil. Draw energy up through those roots into your trunk. Let that energy move through the body. Now you can stay in tree if this feels good to you, or bring the knee forward. Without hitching the hip up, see, can you straighten the front leg, Padangusthasana. Really root into the standing foot, lengthen through the crown chakra, lengthen from the pelvis out the lifted leg, and release. Mountain pose. Feel into the wonders around you right now. I'm feeling into this really hard rain coming down. Hug in the outer hips. Draw your next foot into your version of Vriksasana, tree pose. And float your limbs into whatever position feels good. I like coming into a funnel with my arms. I used to teach it like you're opening your arms to funnel in all good energy. I'll let the rain pour into my fascia so it's more fluid. Fluid breath. Three-dimensional, spacious breath. And then step back down into mountain and let your arms swing. Tractioning away from the shoulder girdle, allow space in the shoulder joint. Feel if there's a stretch in this upper tissue of the chest. If there's a stretch in the neck. Can you lengthen the head away from the swinging arms? Play a little with the positioning of your head and neck. See how that affects the stretching and opening of the fascia in an easy, sort of gentle, moving way. Noticing what helps. And then let the arms ease down and begin to draw a dime-sized circle with your nose. And let it grow to a quarter, to a $50, to the size of a tennis ball. And keep letting the circle get a little larger. And imagine that you're sending a spiral of energy out through your nose. Feel into the fascia of the head, neck, and shoulders. Move slowly enough that you can really feel it and say good morning. Can you smile inward towards this tissue? And then pause and draw the dime the other way. And let the circle grow little by little. We're not in a rush. We're paying attention to the body. And like we don't want a friend to rush past us on the street and just say, "Hi, how are you?" and then be 10 feet down the road before we answer. We take our time and we say good morning to the tissue. That's part of what I liked about this ritual greeting in Senegal. You actually stood at the door and you listened to people's response to how is your health, how is your family. Now they always responded positively because that was part of the ritual. But it was nice just to look people in the eye and to let them know you cared. Look your tissue in the eye. Feel it. Let it know you're noticing. The more conscious we become of the body's tissue, the less likely we are to injure it because we'll be able to tune into its messages. Come back into Tadasana. Feel your three-dimensional breath. And then reach for your chair. And bring your chair into the front of the mat, or if you'd like to, bring it into your wall. I'm going to bring it just into the front of my mat at first. And stand in front of your chair and step your right foot up onto the chair. And keeping your pelvis balanced, root down into both feet and inhale, a lift to the arms. Exhale, your hands to your heart. Inhale, length to the spine. And exhale, twist towards the lifted leg. Keep your pelvis, hug in the banks of the river. Keep your pelvis stable. Lift through the pelvic floor, let the twist move up the spine. It can be very subtle. Bring the back of your left hand across your knee and the right arm open. Right shoulder blade onto your back. Stay aware of your solid base. Stay aware of your lengthening side bodies. And see if you can release the shoulder girdle away from the lifting head. Fluid breath. Pulsating into the tissue. And exhale, hands back to center. Begin to twist towards your standing leg. And open the arms wide and stretch from finger to finger, rooting the four corners of both feet. Don't twist so far towards the left that you torque your left knee. Find your shoulder blades on your back. Find length to the spine. And exhale, hands back to center and step down. Ground into your right foot. Lift the left to the chair. Inhale, length up the spine. Lean into your back body. Let the base of the skull be lifted by the hot air balloon before you twist. Root into the four corners of each foot so you maintain your arches. Bring the back of the right hand against the knee and open the left arm wide and breathe a pulsation into your body. Let the hips stay forward, grounding into that standing foot. Invite the breath to pulse into your body. Beautiful. Long, tall poses. Breathe into your open heart. See if you can smile gently into the tissues of your body you're feeling. And then exhale, hands to the heart, unwind, and open the other direction. Yes, shoulder blades broad on your back. Beautiful tall pose, Jonathan. Fluid breath. Feel into the length. Also feel into the joints of your elbows. Make sure you're not hyperextending them. Keep awake in the joints. Keep them healthy. Beautiful open pose, Debbie. Jory. Ellen. Nice work, Vicky, with your length and your breadth across the heart. And exhale, back around. Slow, fluid movement, Susie, beautiful, and step down. Pause in your mountain pose with your breath. Okay, right here, you can either move the chair out of the way and bring in blocks or stay with the chair. Inhale, float your arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart, Utkatasana. Let your knees come out over your second metatarsals. Inhale, length to the spine, and exhale, twist one direction. And inhale, unwind, and exhale, twist the other. Inhale, unwind, and place your hands on your chair seat or blocks, and step back, plank. Pausing in your plank, float one foot up behind you. Find length from the heel to the crown chakra. And release. And float the other heel up. Stretch and lengthen the body. And release. And pause in your plank. Fine tune the pose. Long neck. Engage at the front of the neck, lengthening the back of the neck towards ease. And if you'd like to, rock across the toe box, inviting the hinges of the toes to open. Feel into the wonder of your own strength. And roll back into downward dog. Lengthen the spine, bend the knees in towards your armpits. Take the sit bones back, inner thighs back and wide. Breathe into the 3 dimensions of the torso and let the breath pulse you open. Fluid breath. And roll forward, stepping your right foot forward. Ground your left heel and inhale. Lift towards the sky. Virabhadrasana 1. Find that length from your grounding feet through your fingers, broad across the shoulder girdle. And exhale your hands to your heart. Inhale, length to the spine, and exhale, twist towards the forward leg. Bring your hand across the femur, or just bring the arms open as wings. Whatever feels better in your spine. Fluid breath. And exhale, unwind. And release your arms down, palms wide and forward. Straighten the front leg and bow forward. Parsvottanasana. Long spine. Inhale, reach the arms skyward. Lift the back heel, bending into the front knee, crescent pose. Fluid breath. Reach through each finger. And exhale, hands to your props. Step back, plank. Long spine. Rolling gently over the toes. Feel the pose. Feel for lengthening all along the spine. And then pause, lifting one heel. Feel into the wonder of your own strength. Releasing that heel, lift the other heel, long of body. And lowering the foot, roll back. Downward dog, bending the knees, stretch the spine. Breathe into the 3 dimensions of the torso before worrying about taking the femur bones back and straightening the legs. Better to have a long torso. Breath that helps you open the tissue. And then maybe you walk your dog to stretch the fascia of the low back and hips. The buttocks and the legs. Maybe you even feel the stretch up into your rib cage and shoulders. Feel for it. Good morning, body. And then pausing in your dog, step your left foot forward. Ground your right heel and inhale up. Virabhadrasana 1. Broad across your shoulder girdle, long in the neck. Root your feet. And stretch up through your fingers. Feel into all the middle areas of your body that unite fingers to toes. Wow, there's a whole matrix and universe inside. And exhale, hands to the hearts. Inhale. Make sure you feel like your pelvis is in a good position, supported well by your feet. You may rearrange your feet a little so that you can lengthen up and gently twist towards the forward leg. You may just open your wings wide, or you may bring the front hand down to the femur. Fluid breath. Relaxing the shoulders away from the lengthening neck. Smiling into the body in this posture if you can, if it's comfortable, if it feels right. Left shoulder engaged firmly on the back ribs. We strengthen the back body. And then exhale. Unwind, hands to the heart. Lift the heel if that's comfortable for you and open up into your crescent pose. Shoulders released away from the skull. Breathe, stretch and opening into your body without compromising the stability. And then exhale. Hands back to the props. Step the back foot forward. Heel aligned with heel, second metatarsals parallel. Utkatasana, fierce pose. Long neck. Breathing length into the spine. Let your hips traction away from a lifting the skull. And then exhale. With the lower body still, twist in one direction. And come back to center. And gently twist in the other. And come back to center. And release the arms. And lift yourself to standing. Interlace the fingers the funny way. Thumbs to the base of the skull. Elbows wrap around and lift the skull. Root the tail. Lengthen the side bodies. Rest the head into the hands and traction the neck. From the outer hips, can you root into the outer heels and strengthen the banks of your river and unfurl the arms? Opening your eyes. Can you look up into the sky? Into that space all around our little planet. And exhale. Hands to the heart and then mountain pose. Relaxing the fingers and the palms and allowing the humerus bones to traction out of the shoulder girdle. All while we root the feet and lengthen the spine. Okay, let's take the chair to a wall if you'd like to lift all the way up to the seat of the chair. If not, you can bring a block onto the chair seat and stay where you are. But if you'd like to use the wall, then bring your chair to that position. Remember, we don't want to be lunging forward as we lift the leg. We don't want the back foot behind the hip. We want the foot right under us like it is in Tadasana. So you have to play a little bit with your distance from the wall. And then when you lift the foot, you want to make sure you can release the lifted leg hip to be even with your standing hip so that your pelvis is well aligned. Then we hug in the banks of the river and we inhale the lift of the arms. And we invite space between the ribs, between the vertebrae. Really root into that standing foot and release that lifted femur bone. And exhale, hands to the heart. And inhale, length up the spine. And exhale, twist towards your lifted leg. And either open your arm wings or bring the front hand down to the leg, back of hand against the leg, fluid breath. Breathe into the tissue that's inviting stretch. Fluid breath. Keep a lift to the heart and a release back onto that base of the skull that's lifted by the hot air balloon. Beautiful poses. Exhale and release yourself back around and step down. Nice bend to the knees, Debbie. And as you're ready, stand in mountain. Think of the standing foot heel under your buttock and lift as you're ready. And now really think of where your head is in line with the rest of your body as you lift your arms skyward. Really root into the four corners of your standing foot and relax the shoulders away from the lifting hands. Beautiful long neck, Anna. Fluid breath. Now exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, length up the spine one more time. And exhale, begin to twist towards your lifted leg. Can you relax the face and gently smile into all this that your body can do? Fluid breath. Breathing into the stretching open of the front chest, the strengthening of the back shoulder blade on the twist. Remember, you don't want the head of the arm bone popping forward. Really hug it back into the twist. And then as you're ready, gently begin to unwind and step down. Beautiful poses. Pause in your mountain pose. See if you can close your eyes and rest them back in their sockets. Tune in to your three-dimensional breath. Okay, let's shake our hands for a moment. Shake at the wrists. Shake up the forearm to the elbow. Up to the shoulder girdle. Let the knees bounce. And if you'd like to, lift the heels and let them bounce down onto the floor. That'll send some reverberations up the legs into the spine. Only do that if it feels okay in your body. For some of us, it'll help us release hypertonic muscles. If you're lifting the heels and bouncing them, feel for that reverberation all the way up into the base of the skull. It's pretty cool to feel how it's all interconnected. And then release the bouncing. Fluid breath. Okay, let's bring our blocks or our chair seat in front of us. Oops, my block got away from me. You can come into seated Uttanasana Konasana or open into Prasarita Padottanasana, wide-legged forward fold. Bring your hands to your pelvic rim and bring your thumbs back behind you, elbows behind you. And root down into the legs, the four corners of the feet, and inhale, lift the heart. Now, as you root down into the legs, I want you to imagine you could tear your mat apart at the center by pressing your legs out, and notice how that's going to turn certain muscles in your hips on. Just feel for those muscles. Say good morning. Woo! If I press hard, can really feel those kind of deep hip muscles. Now draw your inner thighs together like there are really strong magnets there. Keep the four corners of your feet grounded. We're not rolling into the inner arch. And draw your legs together like you could pull them together. Feel into the muscles that are working there. Continue to breathe even as you work these muscles hard. Now relax and let your pelvis settle onto your femurs. And then from the pelvis, root down into the four corners of each foot evenly. You're not ripping the mat apart. You're not hugging it together. You're finding a balance between the two. Now, Rooting through the legs, lengthen the spine. Press down on your pelvic rim, thumbs towards your sacrum, and lift the low back ribs. Lift the side ribs, the front ribs, keeping your pelvis in neutral. It doesn't flow forward. Lift the heart. Now bring the elbows back, have the shoulder blades support that stretching and lifting of the heart. Don't throw your pelvis forward to lift the heart. Stretch the torso, the front chest open. Let the elbows rest back around. Now feel into your collar. Can you relax the back of your collar at all and lengthen the neck out of it, lifting the base of the skull and the back out away from the collar? Take a few fluid breaths here. Let the breath buoy the heart skyward. And then exhale, inner thighs back, fold forward, and reach for your props. Bring your props together. Place your right hand on the prop and float the left wing up. Rooting into both feet. Float the left wing skyward. Make sure your right elbow isn't hyperextending. Breathe into your wingspan. The right sit bone tacks back to keep the pelvis in neutral. You can even traction your pelvis slightly away from your shoulder girdle, which is rooted by your right hand. Breathe space between the vertebrae. Lengthen the neck out of the shoulder girdle. See if you can smile into the tissue of your body you're becoming more conscious of. And release the lifted hand. Placing it on your props, float the right shoulder blade onto your back body. And right here, traction pelvis away from crown. Lengthen the neck out of the shoulder girdle. And then lift your wing, rooting into the left hand, left sit bone tacking back. Check in with your knees that they're not hyperextending, that you're still connected with the four corners of each foot. Then let the pelvis traction back away from the stabilized shoulders and lengthen the neck. Invite the breath to pulse the tissue, saying good morning. Remember, you can fine-tune any pose. Like right now, I'm wanting to stretch part of my back, so I'm bending my knees a little, and oh, that feels so good. So let yourself experiment. And then release the lifted wing and take your blocks wide and forward. Wrap your fingers over the front of the block and traction your pelvis back. Oh, breathe into the whole circumference of your torso. Good morning. Is there any awe or reverence you can feel for this body? Now you can stay here feeling that, or you can bend one knee and then the other, or you can move one shoulder and then the other, and you can undulate the pose in whatever way helps you to open the fascial web. Each body is unique, so play a little, but play very gently. And then walk your blocks back in. Step your feet, heels under sit bones, second metatarsals aligned. And bring your blocks to high, right in front of your feet. hands to the heart. Utkatasana. Fluid breath. Now, bring your left hand, it could be on fingertips, and if you're taller, you may want block on top of block, onto the top of your blocks. So left hand comes to the blocks. Right wing opens, right shoulder blade on the back. Really root from the pelvis into the still legs and lift the right wing. Fluid breath. And release the right wing. Ground your fingertips or ground your palm and lift the left wing. Keep your hips and knees and feet still, grounding into the four corners of each foot. Fluid breath. And release your wing, hands to the heart, Utkatasana, fierce pose. And then move your blocks out of your way. Come to standing. And bring in your bolster, your strap, your pillow, your sweater, whatever you might need for your Shavasana, your eye pillow, your socks. But don't put them on yet, because I'd like us to do a little Supta Padangusthasana work here. So bring your bolster or your blocks in. Maybe you want blocks on one side, bolster on the other. If you like support for your leg when we do the wide open Supta Padangusthasana work. Some of you may want a chair or a wall to support your leg with, or a piece of furniture. We'll lay on our backs and bring your strap in. And let's begin with just a gentle nodding, tailbone towards earth and tailbone towards sky. Fluid breath. And then come into your neutral spine and just a little somatic walking to release the pelvis and spine after all that morning twisting, which will hopefully help us digest our food. So we're just in constructive rest, nodding the pelvis side to side, rocking the body. We'll wait for everyone to get there. Fluid breath. Now, find your neutral lumbar and cervical curves. Gaze should be perpendicular to the floor. And draw your left leg in and place the strap up over your left leg. Right foot's on the floor, pendulum the left leg. And remember, when the foot comes up, we want the femur bone to go towards the foot of the mat. So we're not hitching the hip towards the armpit. We're letting the femur bone move in the hip socket. Now notice if this automatically takes your lumbar spine to flat. If it does, then your pelvis is moving with your femur bone. See if you can stabilize the pelvis with a neutral lumbar curve and move the femur bone independently. And you may not be able to move it far. Your pendulum may look more like this, down low, towards the foot of the mat, but still you're working on the femur moving independently. Now, float the foot up to whatever height you feel comfortable with, and take the strap into your left hand, opening your right wing. Now you may want to place your block out to the side for your shin to land on. And rooting into the right side body, let the left leg open. Let it open out to the side. Fluid breath. Now it doesn't have to come to the block. You just have that there if you have that much opening. Ground through the right side, right shoulder, right pelvis, right foot. And then exhale back to center. This is a lot of core strengthening work. When you're in center, again, really ground the right side, open the left. Feel into the work of stabilizing. Get to know that work. It will help you in daily life. Exhale back to center. Now, if you'd like to, lengthen the right leg on the floor. And one more time, grounding the right side, take the left leg open. And once you're as open as is comfortable, breathe into the stretch. Breathe into the strengthening. Breathe into the whole circumference of the torso. Relaxing on the exhales. And then, as you're ready, stabilize. Right side grounding. Hug in towards center as you lift the left leg. Take the strap in the right hand. Bring the left hand to the top of the femur and press it towards the foot of the mat. Keeping your sacrum on the mat, take the left foot across to the right and flex and point the foot. You may feel a stretch in the calves or the knee or the IT band. Fluid breath. Let the foot come as far across, and maybe you pendulum the foot a little bit to try to stretch in those deep hips. Some of you who don't want to twist will stay here. Others will find the position that feels comfortable to take the leg over the body. The right foot can spin out towards its pinky toe side. Keep reaching the left hip for the foot of the mat. And then rest into the pose. So I had my bolster waiting for me, so my left leg could land on my bolster. For me, with my scoliosis, I don't want to bring my foot all the way to the floor anymore. Lengthening the pelvis contraction away from the shoulders. Deep breath can open the fascia. Let your gaze go deep into the body and notice the movement of the tissue. The wonder of how breath and body interact. If we don't know how to breathe with our diaphragm, we can't get as much action in the intestines. So we train ourselves to feel for the breath down deep. And then bring your left hand across to the strap and help the left leg back to center. Bend the left knee in towards your armpit. Half happy baby. If you'd like to, you can hold the outside of the left foot, taking the strap off, or you can hold the strap still and begin to straighten the left leg to the side of your head. It's a supine birds of paradise pose. This is not required, it's an option. You could stay in half happy baby instead. The foot comes out low to the side of the ear if you want the full position. It's like out towards your left shoulder if your leg will allow for that opening. Fluid breath. Now activate your core with a pursed lipped exhale. Bend the knee and release the leg back to the floor. Stretch the left leg out beside the right and feel for what happened in the body. For me, it always feels like the left side is sinking into the earth and the right side is so light after I've just done one side. The left side can be so grounded. Now step both feet back into constructive rest and lift the right foot into the strap. And begin to pendulum the right leg. Remembering we release the femur towards the foot of the mat as the leg pendulums. Fluid breath. Can you believe we're almost to winter solstice? It's this Thursday, our shortest day of the year. Feels like it's come so quickly this year. Notice if you're taking your pelvis on the right of the femur bone and collapsing your lumbar curve, If you are, bring the pendulum lower towards the foot of the mat and feel for maintaining the lumbar curve to train the femur bone to move a little independently in the hip socket. Every time that femur bone moves and always takes the pelvis for a ride, you're more likely to injure your lumbar spine. Now float the leg up to a comfortable position. Take the strap in your right hand and ground the left side. Left wing opens and open the right leg. Really feel for grounding the four corners of the left foot, reaching out of the four corners of the right, and exhale back to center. Really ground the left side body as you take the right leg open again. Feel into grounding through the pelvis, through the left shoulder, the left low rib ring. And exhale through pursed lips to bring the leg back up, activating your inner core. If you'd like to stretch the left leg out and open the right leg again. If you can come down to props, then you allow yourself to rest and open. If you don't have that ability, then come back to center when you need to. Fluid breath. Deep into the bowl of the pelvis. Seeing if you can relax on the exhales. Then activate the core with a pursed lips exhale and draw the right leg back to center. Take the strap in the left hand, right hand to the top of the femur. Bring the right foot across. Breathe into the deep hip. Maybe you point and flex the foot to find stretch. Maybe you pendulum the leg a little bit. This outer hip is so much tighter in my body. And my inner pelvis is so much tighter on the left side. So each of us is unique. Feel into your own pattern. It's like your own unique snowflake. Release your right hip down the mat. And if you'd like to, come into the full twist. Play with releasing the right hip down away from the shoulder girdle. Fluid, three-dimensional breath, helping you to relax into opening on the exhales. Remember, there are muscles you can relax: the face, the hands, the jaw. And then bring the right hand over. Take the strap and help the right leg back to center, bending the right knee in, half happy baby. Some of you will be able to release the strap and hold the foot in the hand. Some will want to keep the strap if you're opening into birds of paradise, straightening the right leg out beside the right ear. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Happy, half happy baby is a fine stretch, so you feel free to stay there. And then gently bend the right knee back in. Fuse your inner core to release the right foot to the floor. Lengthen both legs out on the mat. Open both wings. Feel into your unique body. And then step your feet in and gently come back into somatic walking. Very gentle twist for your lumbar spine. Fluid breath. Move your strap out of the way and draw a yoga block or your bolster in underneath your pelvis. Release your head from pillows if you have one in. And if you'd like to draw your blanket up over your body, feel free to do that. We're in a supported bridge now. And if you have any strain in the low back, come onto the balls of your feet, lift your pelvis, take your tailbone long towards the backs of your calves, and then release your pelvis back to your prop. Release back onto your feet and stretch your shoulders away from your buttocks. Come into your three-dimensional breath. If it's comfortable, release your hands out, palms up. Rest your shoulder girdle broad. And take one leg long over your prop. Breathe into the psoas pathway here. Relaxing your inner thigh over the prop towards the ground, away from the top of the pelvis and the lumbar spine. Breathe into any stretch or dull ache you feel in the pelvic bowl. Relax your eyes back in their sockets, your face and your jaw. And then walk your foot back in and stretch out the other side. It's fine if the foot falls out towards the pinky toe side. Release the inner thigh. This is the inner trochanter, which the psoas and iliacus attach to. Release it towards the foot of the mat over your prop. Release the navel the opposite direction. Invite the psoas and iliacus muscles to open. Breathe deep into the belly, massaging this tissue. Relax as much as you can into the stretch. And if you'd like to, take both legs open over the prop. Fluid breath. Then gently walk back into your bridge and gently come into, if you're on a bolster, you can come into gentle somatic walking. If you're on a block, you can try it, but it might not be comfortable. Then as you're ready, lift the pelvis up and press the bolster out from underneath you towards your knees. You can either rest your knees over the bolster or rest your feet on the bolster and open your knees into a Baddha Konasana. And let yourself rest into your Shavasana. You can rest with your hands out to the sides, palms down or palms up, or rest your palms on your belly. I find this comforting, so that's what I like to do. Fluid breath. Feel the hug of gravity and see if you can release into it. Releasing the muscles of the face into the hug of gravity. The tongue, the jaw. Releasing the back of the skull and the neck. Releasing the shoulder girdle broad. Pulsing the body with the breath. As you rest here, can you let your mind settle for a moment on any aha moments you had in the practice, any awakening you had to specific tissue? Now bring any moments of wonder and awe to mind. See if these moments can settle into your consciousness and into your physical body. Think towards the earliest moment of awe you can remember as a child. With this in mind, begin to gently move. Like a child waking up from a nap. Oh, let yourself come back into this body in this moment. And perhaps roll over onto your side for a few breaths, integrating anything you'd like to take with you from this practice into your day. And then gently begin to lift yourselves back up to a comfortable seat. Just feel into the body for a moment. And inhale our hands to our hearts. May we find many moments of awe and wonder inside the internal landscape and outside in the greater world. Namaste. And thank you all for being here.